Am I audible as well?
Neeraj, you are audible and we can see you very clearly.
Sure.
I think your computer is muted actually, Neeraj. We can hear you nicely.
In the interest of time, I think my screens are visible, and I have made it towards the end just now because just fill in the thing. I'll become, I think, seeing the audience, I think I am audible. So I will just take on a few questions. Yeah, so that means I'm audible. So these are the few common questions which come to our mind whenever we are doing a VSD device closures. First is, how large a perimembranous VSD we can close? Well, just an example, this is 22, 24 device, but how large we can do it is actually a 14-year-old girl who has underwent a VSD device closures. But should we be closing it VSD? No. The answer is yes. And operability data is equally important. Basal baseline parameters are to be taken. Look at the very low diastolic pressures which are there. And of course, with this basal data, I would be keen to take him to the cath lab and close the VSD. Although vasoreactive testing is done, and seeing the vasoreactive testing and a fall in diastolic pressures on nitric oxide, it gives me a confidence to close this particular VSD. Yes, the most important answer is the patient should be operable, and it is the most essential essential point. As long as we can, we should be away from all these adjacent structures, and there should be adequate rims upon the device to close it. This is the same 14-year-old who underwent a 22-24 device with no AR and doing wonderfully well in follow-up. Question number 2, VSD. Multiple openings in device. What are the available options to me whenever there are multiple openings? So this is another 28-year-old girl, and look at the aneurysm which is there, and look at the 2 openings which you will be finding in this particular defect. The question is to find a suitable opening which can optimally close this defect. My landing zone here is the most important. If I close my landing zone, I may be able to occlude rest of the openings which are there. Or if I go through my central defect, I will be able to close the rest of the parameters. So these are some of the anatomical points which may hide it. Either I close it from the mouth, provided I am away from the aorta, or I go through the central defect and occlude rest of the openings. So these are some of the points which might help decide my choice of device in this particular case. So here you see on echocardiography, we realized actually there were 3 openings. The echocardiography, if it plays, yes, no, this is the post device. So actually we ended up using a ADO2 device because my disc is 12 millimeters, which could easily cover the whole of the aneurysm, actually fully occluding this defect, and I could see no residual shunt. Coming to the next illustrative case, case number 3, it is the residual VSD, say post-op tetralogy or a post-op patient. What are the available options in a perimembranous area? So I will take an example of a 13-year-old girl who presented complaints of bluish discoloration, easy fatigability, diagnosed having cyanotic CHDs, and underwent and subsequently developed infective endocarditis, 8 weeks treatment. Echo diagnosis was of a DTGA, valvular and subvalvular stenosis with anterior VSD with extension, but it was routable to aorta, and underwent the surgery, which was routing of VSD to aorta with a Dacron patch, pulmonary root translocation, and augmentation of the anterior RVOT with a autologous patch, a pulmonary valvotomy. So it's an anterior part of the septum, which probably was somehow, if you see the most anterior plane, as I see, there is a residual defect as my aorta opens up, as my probe tilts anteriorly. So most importantly, for all this is for everyone, it is important that we define our plane as to what is the anatomical location of my defect. In this particular case, the defect is much anterior, and it may not surge, and it was a switch. So it was been done through the VSD closure proximal part has been done through the trans-aortic approach, and probably the anterior part has still been missed. So this particular patient continued to have pericardial effusion, had fluid collections, and this VSD on a restrictive physiology in a post-operative patient is troubling this patient. So we decided to go ahead and close this particular VSD to go out to the cath lab. There you see a significant RV diastolic dysfunction. So in a the SV saturation is just 46%. The cardiac output is definitely compromised. The RV pressures are high. So are the RV EDs, and the pulmonary artery pressures are on higher side. What is troubling is the high RV EDs and low cardiac output state. So considering very thin patch, it was decided to close it with a 8 millimeter atrial septal occluder. And we thought we have done a pretty good, decent job and have closed the VSD. Post device, the parameters not much changed. The step up has gone, but the EDs continue to be high. But probably the patient will do well now that the residual shunt of the patient has gone. But the free PR continued, and we thought probably the patient continues to be in RV diastolic dysfunction because of this free PR, because of this MR, and that is why he continued to be dyspneic and would not actually sustain well. But if you see it, there is this VSD device is there, but there is still a residual shunt which is there. I'm sorry, this is a slightly older video. So the residual shunt which is still there. So the natural tendency is once you have done the procedure, well, significant shunt can be seen in this particular view. We thought a PR is troubling, MR is troubling, and maybe we have already closed it and it will endothelize, at least the shunt is reduced and the patient will do well. But look at the dates, and it has been almost a week. The patient continues to be tachypneic. We decided to go in and plug with an additional VSD, and this time using another 8 millimeters device sandwiched on an ASD device, sandwiched on the previous technique. And lo and behold, within 2 days, this was the post-operative, second device. The RV pressures systolic pressures have normalized. The EDs have normalized right on the table. We were really surprised, never expected it to be so low with free PR. But yes, they were coming out to be 6 and 8, and pulmonary artery pressures have all normalized. And within 2 days, the patient is fit to get discharged. So learning RV diastolic dysfunction is worsened by the residual shunt. Proactively consider closure of even small symptomatic shunt in a post-operative settings, because all these residual shunts are on a restrictive VSD, which can be problematic for this child. A very important complication doing any VSDs is the device embolization. So instead of just talking in detail, because it was just a usual retrieval, I just wanted to point out that this is the perimembranous area. Some of the devices, like a softer device which we have been using, like the ADO2s, these devices speak for themselves. Look at this particular motion. The device is itself seeking to get displaced. There is a traction on this particular device. Even if I push it, look at the motion. There is definite traction on this particular device, which is trying to pull it away. Look at the distance from this disc and this disc and this disc and this disc. This is definitely on traction and trying to pull the device away from you. So these probably the movement of the distal and the proximal disc with respect to the central disc is an important parameter which will help to avoid complications like this. Well, this particular patient, the device was retrieved. This was a 6-4 device, and another device, a muscular VSD. It was before we had a Konar. So I think Konar is a better device in this particular situation, but we put it up another muscular VSD device in the retrograde position. The other important question in a perimembranous area is always a retrograde or an antegrade, and whether, if there is an aneurysm, whether we should prefer a retrograde only. So this is a 3-year-old, 6 months old child with a significant shunt, a large 10 kg child, a 6 millimeters VSD on echocardiography, but there is an aneurysm which has formed there. So concern was, if I have to go retrograde, that would be easier because I would be able to park cross the aneurysm, and probably the aneurysm would not trouble me crossing it. But is always a good idea. We had a concern with for a 6 millimeter device, I would be taking up at least 8-10 device, and my concern was here. We do the routine for this. For giving the answer, we do aortic root angiogram, and there you see the pulmonary femoral arteries are not big enough. to take my sheath across to take the delivery sheath. So we decided to go retrograde in this particular case. So retrograde, it's a usual situation. We crossed it with the Venus only technique, deployed the device, and it's a protocol that we always take a AP and a lateral view for all the devices, because this helps us whenever we are in, whether our device has moved from its position or something, to get an X-ray in a AP and lateral and compare with the device. So these are the few learning points which we had it. The other important question, which is always important for a perimembranous area, is the heart block. A question which has been raised for ages, and the answer probably came beautifully from Shiva sir's publication this year, when they have published and defined, Dr. Anil Singhi and Dr. Shiva having their publication defining the types of perimembranous VSDs, and that would help us even decide the choice of device. The question is, when do we use steroids? Answer, which will invite comments from the esteemed audience, is whenever there is a traction during the process, whenever we expect a larger clamping force with a larger device, or there is a rhythm abnormality during the procedure, I think electively it should be a protocol to give immediately, suspecting that there will be a local edema which is going to develop 48 to 72 hours, because that is the usual time when the edema develops, to give electively, start on dexamethasone and give 3 doses. We can have discussion about this. I thank you all for the patient listening, and a very happy Diwali. Thank you.
Thank you.